All right, everyone, and welcome in to HiBruiNation, the unofficial home of your Boston Bruins with Goosey. That's myself, Agent Cody Banks over there to my right or left, depending on which way you're looking at this. And the Chavo, Jack, is on vacation. He'll be back next time, but the rest of us are here, and we're going to talk Sweeney's acquisitions during free agency, grading those acquisitions as a whole, some fan thoughts. But before we get into all of that, the NHL is was an absolute wild time. Leo Carlsson getting $18 million offer sheet from the Philadelphia Flyers, Bedard getting injured again, and Fantilli is still not signed, and I believe he is offer sheet available. Dylan Larkin and Connor Hellebuck still remain with their respective teams, and Jason Robertson filing for arbitration, possibly hinting toward him wanting to stay there. Possibly not. Kind of a crazy time, guys. Let's just talk a little bit about that with what's gone on over the past couple weeks with those big names.
Leo getting to stay in Anaheim because they caved in. I'm with it. He didn't want to leave, supposedly. Anaheim didn't want to give him up, but they still got a lot of pieces to play with right now that they have to sign.
A lot of drama with that, actually. So, Steve,
yeah, what do you got?
You had anything to that? So, apparently there was a back and forth between Verbeek, who, by the way, yes, this is a lot of this is his fault, but there are also other GMs, including Danny Briere, that I would like to blame because they just inflated the market that much more. Especially for a guy like Leo Carlsson. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but holy smokes, dude.
Not 18
his career high is 67 points, and you're banking on him to become like a 90+ point on average player for that amount of money. That's what you're banking on for doing that.
I don't see it happening.
Nor do I. Well, I don't know. Maybe 85.
He might get one. He might get one good season. One good season out of this next run.
But this contract could turn into a turd sandwich. But before all of this happened with the offer sheet, apparently there was a back and forth between Verbeek, Carlson's agent, where Verbeek said 12. Carlsson came back and said 15, and Verbeek still wouldn't move. And I'm just like, you could have saved yourself $3 million because now they don't really have much to sign Cutter Gauthier. They're going to have to make a move.
Yeah, they have no choice.
Yeah, the Ducks are in trouble here. They are. I don't even know what the right terminology is. It's screwed. Capital screwed. They waste all this money on this guy. He's a good player, not $18 million worth, not $15 million worth. I think the market might be 11, 12 for him. If that's kind of pushing it to the extent, because again, you're banking it on what he could be, not what he is. But still, that is just an overinflated price right there. And they still have a lot of guys to sign that are kind of core pieces for them. And yeah, it doesn't give them much wiggle room for anything. So I guess that's good for the Bruins, because if they have to dump some cap space and have to pick and choose, maybe we could scoop up something.
I find it a little hard because the Bruins also have only $5 million. So it's kind of like they would need to make multiple moves. In the offseason, you can go 10% over the cap. You just have to be cap compliant by the time, the first day rolls around, which is okay.
For right now.
I think
September.
That's fair. I think 15 would have been, I guess, okay value for Leo. I thought he would have been, more around the 12, 13 million range, similar to Austin Matthews. It may be on a bridge deal and then kind of prove it. He has been on an upward trajectory, but you pay a guy like him 18 million, you're banking on him being a massive, massive influence. And not to say that he isn't, but when I think of a guy who makes $18 million, I think of the McKinnons, the McDavids, those high end, those high capacity producing centers. I need to see, or even a Celebrini. I just think I needed to see more of Leo Carlsson before you offer that kind of deal. That doesn't mean he can't grow into it, but it's only 5 years. It's only 5 years, man. And then what? And yes, I understand the cap projections, but that just means he's going to want that much more. You've inflated an ego potentially.
I agree with that.
Or it could be the complete opposite of like, hey, we paid you 18 mil a year to do nothing, and you're not worth it. So
Double-edged sword.
Sword.
Double-edged sword. And people are touting percentage of the cap. It'll go down to like maybe 14% in like 3 years. It's like, yes, but you still set the tone for players like, I'm going to use an example like Philadelphia. Philadelphia would have acquired him. Like Michkov. Like if you hear like, fans say Michkov is a borderline generational talent, and if you're going to tell me that borderline generational talent won't see that and be like, hey, I kind of want that similar money, you're going to think other players who are blue chip stock players, they're not going to see that and say, hey, I produce the same, if not more, that they're going to want that money. It's crazy. You created the demon. I'll also argue that Kirill Kaprizov, didn't help the situation by signing $17 million. That it's wild. Again, Kaprizov is a great scorer, but I don't know if he's $17 million.
No. Generational talent has become such a watered down word now. It's mainly yearly talent. Like, who's the next talented guy this year? Because you're talking generational, you're talking upwards to 25 years apart. Why are we calling these guys generational talents and paying them like it when they're not producing like it? They're not actually generationally talented. It's just they were talented at the level that they were at. Now they're here. They can score, but they can't score on a regular basis like a Sidney Crosby. That was an iconic generational talent there.
You're also going to assume, right, that other agents and players aren't looking at that and being like, my guy can get that plus. Like, your other teams are going to be like, oh, that was such a gross overpay for Leo Carlson. I'm like, yeah, but agents pay attention to that. Players pay attention to that. And someone said like, oh, but if you take it to arbitration, it's not really a talking point. No, but they consider it. They take it into consideration. Sure. And agents use that as a massive talking point. You may not get $18 million, but you're going to get close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
So
good.
it's just like,
even if you match Kirill Kaprizov's contract, you're close enough to what you wanted. You're a lot higher than what you originally wanted. So why are we arguing?
What do you think Bedard and Fantilli are doing looking at that value?
Well,
now, mind you, both Columbus and Chicago have the money to do that. But what do you think that tells them?
That their guys can and possibly will do that. I mean, with Bedard being injured right now, he's kind of doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Doesn't have a shoulder either. Poor bastard.
So
can't catch a break.
No, but really can't catch a break with his roster either. But they got money to move, and so do other teams. So he's got to be one piece that you got to sign and keep trying to build around him because that was your guy, and stop bringing these old bastards in that don't really know the flow of this game now. I mean, Tyler Bertuzzi, love the guy. What is he doing on Chicago with Bedard? Why is he playing on a line with Bedard?
Well, to be fair, who hasn't played on a line with Bedard? That's the real issue.
That was my next point. Fliggy too. Like Fliggy, good for him. He found a spot in Minnesota, but Chicago wasn't it. That wasn't the next stop. To give him veteran presence around him, not the guys you want to put around him in Chicago.
Chicago's porked for sure. I'm just surprised that no one else is considering offer sheeting Bedard. Then I mean, they're going to match. It doesn't matter if
no matter what
match. They're going to do it. They're going to match. It'll be fine. And I don't think Fantilli's as good as Leo Carlson either. Or like I think Leo Carlson's making the case that he should have been the number one overall pick back when him and Bedard went 1 and 2. I think he's strongly making that case. But I don't know what else to tell you there. But I don't know that Leo making $18 million. That's Bedard and Fantilli definitely got to be looking at that and being like, I could get 15. You got to imagine that, right?
16, 17.
I think Bedard's going to get 16.
I think so.
And now what do you think about Macklin Celebrini? Because the cap's going up again next year.
17 easy right out.
Might get more.
That's just start. That's what I was saying. That's just starting point right there for him. If he's going, he does what he did last year, this year too, and better. We're looking almost 20 mil at this point.
Because you're talking about a much better upward trajectory, right? He's already scored over 100 points.
Yep.
He already
Kid's
shows he can do it.
20?
Yeah. He's got the C for a reason, so pay him.
Yeah. But players that want to win won't take that money.
No.
Knowing the situation, they won't take that money if they seriously want to win. And that's why I think McDavid didn't take the payday that I think other teams were willing to pay for him. You know what I mean? He decided to stay with Edmonton at $12 million. You think McDavid couldn't have got $17 million? But what would that have done? Would have crippled their team. You can't win cup championships, even with this exponential growth, with a rebuilding team with all those star talents taking 15 million plus. You can't.
No, absolutely not.
That's the thing. People have to decide what's more important to them. Do they want to get paid or do they want to win cups? That's the real crux of the situation there.
I think
Talk about
Karlsson,
Zegras right there.
well, that's the funny thing. So now Zegras and Jamie Drysdale are going to take Philadelphia to arbitration. So now, all the Philadelphia fans that were like, great, we could get Leo Carlsson for X amount of money. Okay, great. But now Zegras and Drysdale, who had a deal in place and then was like, he saw Pavel Minchikov got, which was 7.4, and Brant Clark at 7.4. Drysdale wants more money now. That's what happens. Now you got to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when you get yourself in a cap crunch, you turn into Anaheim. Now you don't operate from a position of power. You don't have the ability to have stronger deals. So if you want to get rid of a guy, you're not going to get top dollar for it. Teams aren't going to get into bidding wars. They're just going to be like, fine, this is my best offer. Go find somebody else if you think it's better.
I think the market's just getting so out of hand, though, that there needs to be a hard reset, in my opinion. We're seeing it now. Like, it's all going crazy. Oh, cap's going up. Let's just drop 18 mil, right? Like, that's crazy talk.
And sorry, Steve, that's 4 first-round picks, by the way. That offer sheet would have gotten rid of Philly's four first-round picks. That is a lot of buying power you lose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Despite being mid-round picks, even with Leo Carlsson, that's still a lot of stuff you lose in that deal, especially when you're going to have to take L's in trades to clear the cap space for your guys like Michkov, Martone, and all that. Again, I'm not calling Philly stupid. I'm just saying that these are just an example because that's the one that we're presented with, right?
Yep.
And to your point on the trade market, Larkin still hasn't been moved. Supposedly there was a deal, or Dallas was very interested, but Detroit wanted Wyatt Johnson, and that's not happening. I think Wyatt Johnson has a higher ceiling than Dylan Larkin.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then Hellebuck wants to go to Buffalo, but you got to wonder, like, he's a 3-time Vezina candidate, or not even candidate, he's a winner. So you got to imagine that price is going to go crazy. You know what I mean? Like, way up. It's just crazy.
And
I agree.
Buffalo only has 8.6 to work with. Like,
yeah.
Very slim margin there, bud.
Yeah.
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 And they got a lot of work to be done too as well. Like, Buffalo doesn't have a 1C. Buffalo needs some work. They lost Alex Tuck. So it's crazy.
And
it is a crazy market.
As of right now, they still have 4 free agents to work with.
Yeah. And Jason Robertson.
And 2 of them being a center.
And then there's Jason Robertson, right? To round out this roundtable and then we can get into the actual Bruin stock. Jason Robertson. He reportedly wants $15 million. I don't think he's going to get that out of an arbitrator.
That's crazy.
But he's taking Dallas to arbitration, which means it does seem like he wants to stay there. But he's also giving the opportunity for the team that if the team doesn't want to take that arbitration deal, the team can walk away. And guess what happens to Robertson? He becomes a UFA. Crazy.
I mean, maybe that's plan.
That's not going to happen.
Maybe that's the plan all along. It's like, okay, I want to get paid. I'm sick and tired of losing and going deep and losing. So, and I want off this team, but I'm an RFA. So let's go to arbitration and then make me a UFA. Maybe that's the plan, just to get paid.
I don't think Dallas will allow that. I think Dallas would much rather trade him, but I don't know why, but Robertson has like nixed trades to other teams because he said, no, I just won't sign there. And I guess reportedly the Seattle Kraken were willing to offer him a lot of money. I think it was like $15 million.
That 15 mil. Yep.
And I'm like, well, that's what you wanted, but he doesn't want to go to the Kraken. So it's crazy.
I don't know, man.
The Kraken got some stuff to figure out.
They have that's a team that's kind of all messed up right now too. That's the problem.
All
Like they have
sorts of messed up.
figured out, and it's messy over there, and they're not really competitive.
Either way, all of this is just bedlam. It's insanity. This is probably one of the off seasons that a lot of people have wanted. The chaos, the drama, people wanting out, people wanting to be moved. Now Quinn Hughes is talking extension with the Minnesota Wild. That's looking around to be $17 million. Good luck winning a championship with two players eating $34 million in cap. That's a lot.
Yeah, Minnesota doesn't know what they're doing. They're trying to win so hard, but they're not making any of the right moves to make sure that they win.
It's just pure insanity. And there's still a bunch of free agents not signed. Patrick Kane, Patrick Laine, Vladimir Tarasenko. They're older, but you want to know it still have some value at depth. I'm surprised some of the cup contenders haven't considered bringing them back or bringing them with them. So I have no idea. This whole offseason has been crazy. And Don Sweeney's actually been active and a part of it. So that's good news.
Shocking, right?
Not so much show. He made some, we had some departures, right? When you look at Don Sweeney's free agency, he has Connor Clifton returning at a reasonable contract. He traded Korpisalo to New York for a fourth in 2028 and some prospect that's just going to rot probably in the AHL, which is fine. He re-signed Jordan Harris. He got you Will Borgen, who's been compared to Brandon Carlo. Sorry for that.
Yippee.
For a sec. Yeah, yippee. Hey, listen, before the head injuries, Carlo was a good defenseman. And that only cost you a second and a conditional third. And the condition on the third is that it upgrades to a 2028 second if Boston makes the East Final in 2027 or 2028 and Borgen plays 50% of the playoff games. That's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Not a lot to ask.
And then Arvidsson leaves, Peak leaves. That's fine. You kind of probably saw at least Peak coming. Arvidsson was a little bit more of a shock considering he went to Detroit for the exact same value that Boston reportedly offered him at 2 years, $5 million.
Yep.
That was just strange to me. But you can't say he wasn't active. He did stuff, right? Those were the acquisitions and those were the departures. And of course, there was JJ Petarka, but that was prior to free agency.
Yeah.
He did his job, right?
I think. Steve, you want to hit this one first?
You can hit this one first because
dude,
I'll drive it home. Just go ahead.
Let's go. He did one thing. As I said before, he did one thing that I asked.
Oh, come on.
That a lot of us asked. Corpy, get him out of here. Thank you. Golf clap for that. Cool. You re-signed Jordan Harris. Wasn't really shocked by that one. Connor Clifton, a little surprised by taking back another former Bruin, but stay-at-home guy. I'm okay with it. He's gotten better over the years. He's definitely progressed. So, all right, not mad at it. Like I said, Corpy was the main thing. I just wanted him gone. I would have given him away with a bag of peanuts and whatever else you wanted from the garden. Take it. Don't care. Borgen's cool, but again, Brandon Carlo-esque pre-head injuries, old Boston days. Again, another stay-at-home guy. We need more of those. So again, RD3. Who do we have at RD2? Who's our guy?
I'm going to interject. No, I think your RD3 is going to be between Connor Clifton and Henry Yoki Haru. Will Borgen, I think, is a solid number 4 defenseman. Because if you already have, like, say, Lindholm, McAvoy, and then Zadorov, I guess, would probably be those top 3 aren't bad outside of the issue with Zadorov taking too many penalties. If you can clean that up, I would say that's a pretty decent top 3.
I'd say
Some would
sit
argue that
Zadorov,
you need to say that again.
sit Zadorov in the 3 slot
That's where
on the third
that's where
line, just to keep him from out of the box. If he can clean up his penalty minutes, yeah, I don't care how much you're paying him. Put him in the third line just to clean himself up.
I don't hate a low ride Borgen pairing. I don't hate it.
I hate
anything with a lore. I hate anything with a lore that has to do with it. But
I mean, the good news is I think he's expendable, but you can't tell me that, Will Borgen isn't going to be like a solid number 4. You could argue too that McAvoy doesn't have a LD1 partner, but that's an expensive piece to go buy.
huge piece, and we don't have the space to do it. So unless we make moves, which Lori, see ya, bud. Give us an LD. I don't care. There's something to bolster that shit.
Yeah. But still, no RD2, and I'm not sold on Borgen being number 4. Like, I'm not sold on him being RD2. And Cliffy Hockey is a third pair guy. Let's just call it what it is. And he's fine, right? He's fine for the third pairing, but it's just not what I was expecting or wanting. It's just you knew your defense was atrocious, so you bring Cliffy Hockey back, and then you get Borgen. Those moves don't scream, "Oh, we're trying to win a Stanley Cup this year." That doesn't scream that to me.
I think they know they're not gonna.
Well,
I think it's the term. The term on these guys will position Boston better. I mean, Will Borgen 4x4.1. That's not that bad. And Connor Clifton 2x2.25.
2.25.
Yeah, that's not that terrible. You're positioning yourself at the cap to go up so you can afford more high-end talent. I don't really hate that. Don't really hate what I think they're trying to do or what they're trying to plan.
Don't sit there. I'm talking about Don Sweeney, right? As always. Don't sit there and tell me you found a direction and you know where you're going, and it's to be aggressive and do this. You're being aggressive for the future. No, you're not being aggressive for now. This is still not the direction that I was looking for. I know we were competitive. We're competing for a second round, maybe.
It's contradictory to what he's been saying all along, though. We're trying to compete.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right? It's like we're trying to compete for a Stanley Cup every year. Okay, yeah. So does that mean you're going to be aggressive for the now? That's what it sounds like when you say it like that. But if you're going to be preparing for the future, just say it's for the future, right? Like, I'm not mad at whatever direction they choose. It's just have some consistency of what you're saying to the media and set the fan expectations to the right level. That's what my issue is. If we're going to suck for the next 3 years, all right, cool. We can suck for the next 3 years. But on year 4, we better start competing and start making it to the playoffs and going deep. That's what we need. It's just the messaging is it's everywhere, and it's not consistent.
I don't know, because I think he did his job. I think he did his job, and I think he did do as he promised. He addressed the issues. He addressed the right side. I still think there's some issues on the left, predominantly Lowry and Zadorov's penalty issues. But I think you're right. If you put Zadorov down in the third pairing, you kind of mitigate that a bit. But he's a great penalty killer. Lowry is a pylon, but you have Frederick Brunet coming up, so maybe he can steal a roster spot. They acquired a top 6 forward. They cleared Korpisalo's cap contract, which means they're giving DiPietro a look. They didn't flood the roster with a whole bunch of bums. So looks like they are going to give an opportunity for some of these young guys to prove that they can crack the roster. So I don't expect James Higgins to go to Providence. I Matthew Poitras is the only RFA that is still unsigned for the Boston Bruins. I think they need to address that, but they're leaving the potential for both of these guys to stay with the mainstream roster. I think he has done what basically Bruins fans had asked. Get rid of the Corpusalo, get a top six forward, address the right side, stop preventing the youth down in Providence from being able to come up. I think he just did all that.
I mean, not right. He did, but he didn't, though. Right? Yeah, he addressed. We weren't asking for him to address the right side. We wanted an RD2. The only thing you needed to do was get an RD2. And then, so you pick up two guys that are third pair guys. Okay. Like, you're addressing it and trying to basically put patchwork and see what works. And now you're oversaturated at D with bottom pair guys. That's you completely opposite, right? Last year we were oversaturated with bottom pair offensive guys, and now you're oversaturated with bottom pair defensive guys. Whatever, it is what it is. And now you let Arvidsson leave for whatever reason, right? I don't know why. He was said to like Boston, he really wanted to stay, and then he goes to the shit show that's the Detroit Red Wings. I don't know, for the same offer. So something must be going on.
There's a rumor that I saw spreading about that Victor Arvidsson saw the acquisition of JJ Peterka, and with the young talent that the Bruins had, Arvidsson felt that he knew his role would be reduced, and I don't think he wanted it reduced, because you have to imagine Peterka is going to be on the left wing one. Geeky's probably going to take the RW2 spot, and then you're going to have Hagens, Lindholm, Geeks, or some or Middlestat, Lindholm, Geeks, some capacity, one of those things. And I don't think Arvidsson wanted to be trapped on the third line. I think he wanted to play more top 6 minutes. That's the rumor anyway that I had read.
I think that rumor is bullshit, because the best line that we had all year is staying in Boston. He would stay with that line. And if they continue producing like they were, they'd be a second line guy or second line.
I mean, it's up to him, right? I mean, reportedly, Sweeney was in contact with both Peak and Arvidsson's camps. And then you go look at what Peak signed for. He signed for 1 year, $1 million. It's not a lot. Actually, if that's as low as he signed, there must have been not a lot of interest in him. And so he was just taking money, because that's a $2 million pay cut that he took, approximately.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You got to imagine.
He deserved a pay cut because he didn't play that well.
Yep.
He had the opportunity to play well. Well, he had the opportunity to try to be something, and he fumbled the bag. So, yeah, take the money and run.
Take what you can get.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I still think the Bruins have a hole at the right wing 3 spot. I think that's an issue that they need to address. I don't like the idea of having Husnudinov, Minton, and Hagens on that line and having someone play on their off wing. You have 3 left-handed shots on that line. Go get a right-handed shooter for the right wing or something along those lines. That's something you need to do. That's something I think Don Sweeney still needs to address. You have a lot of left-handed shooters. You don't got a lot of right-handed ones. Go get one. And don't put Matthew Poitras on that third line with Fraser Minton. They're two similar style players. They are. They're very two-way forward-esque type people. You need a scorer. That's where I think the Bruins need to address next.
No, I completely agree. I mean, still be on the hunt for an RD2, at least somebody that's bona fide that you can possibly get for a decent price or a good package. But at the same time, focus on a scorer. We need more goals.
I'm pivoting more to an LD2 or an LD1. I think Will Borgen's going to be fine at RD2. You have Clifton at RD3. It's a good shutdown guy. Maybe Yoki Haru does make his case and he finally competes and he plays to a way that you saw in the Buffalo series, and then he can keep that consistently. Then I think that's your RD2, because again, he's only 20. I think he's 26, 27 years old, so he's just coming into his own. Guy. So that is a possibility, but I think they're looking to move him. I think they're looking to move Lowry, hoping to get an LD1 or LD2 person. Because I don't think you need to play Zadorov. I think if Zadorov's your LD3, you get a deep defensive core.
Yeah. And again, he could still play. He could be a PK guy on the third line. That doesn't matter. It's just drop his minutes so he's not in the box as much.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact, like, when you call yourself a key penalty killer, but like, the key to killing penalties is to be on the ice when you're killing them, not to be in the box watching the penalty kill. So, I mean, yes, that is something he absolutely needs to work on. But I don't know, guys. I think Don Sweeney deserves a B grade for this. I think he did quite a bit to address the needs of the team. People are going to say we need a 1C. We need to get rid of Elias Lindholm. We need to get rid of Hampus Lindholm. Blah 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 blah. I can't stand that argument anymore, because if I see it anymore in my comments on Twitter, I'm going to freak out because
I mean,
that's fine. You don't have to be wrong. You don't listen. You can hate fuck the player all you want, but you just gotta be like, dude, they got to find a way to move them. They're not going to. That's the way how no movement clauses work. And what your feelings are on no movement clauses, I could care less. That's fine. Those could be your feelings on it. But the reality is, you're not going to sit down the guy you just signed to $7.75 million and a defenseman who has been arguably pretty decent for you despite having his foot injuries and his leg injuries, and say, hey, you suck. I want to move you. They're just not going to waive. They're going to make your life a living hell.
They already are.
Fair. You know what? Fair.
By playing the way they are.
Like, they already are. It is what it is. I don't know, man. It's just they're not playing to what we signed them for. And that no movement clause is coming back to haunt us yet again, because Don Sweeney loves to hand out no movement clauses.
It was a risk.
Emperor. Like, it's crazy, man. Like,
look,
every player gets a no movement clause. It's ridiculous. No wonder why none of the people in Providence can move up.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, look, it was a risk. I would say at the time it was a risk worth taking. Now you're kind of looking at it and be like, oh man, that's a really hard pill to swallow. But it's just, you can't ask him to go out and get a 1C when you already have a billion centers and there's not really any 1Cs available. We're actually probably the only one that is available. Cost you $11.6 million, and he's rumored to have basically just given up on the whole sport of hockey, and that's Elias Pettersson. I mean, that's the buy low guy in terms of what it's going to cost you to acquire him, like that. But the cost on his salary is just too much, and then that's an even bigger risk. But if you're gonna be a fan and complain about, oh, well, we don't have a 1C, I'm like, well, that's why you drafted James Higgins. That's why you drafted the potential in Dean Letrino. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think Dean's going to be a 1C, but you can't be like, ugh, Don Sweeney failed because he didn't go get a 1C. That's who's available.
Yeah.
Nobody at that position.
Well, and that's why we drafted Higgins. That's what it is. I'm hoping that Higgins is coming up and maturing up in the correct way to take over 1C. That's where you're looking at. And then, Will Zellers is still down there in North Dakota, and he's looking real good. He just needs to keep playing. And, then you have potential for, we got Letourneau, you got Zellers, Higgins, you got top 6 talent potentially right there. And that'll kind of sort itself out.
Yeah, I think Zellers is going to be more of a middle 6 guy with probably second line ceiling potential. I'd love to see him as an LW1, but that's where I see him. But yeah, you're right, Steve. You hope that these guys develop, and that's why you draft them. So it's just kind of like, you got to have a little patience too. And so I think even you got to understand, like, Don Sweeney has to see that too. It's like, he's not going to get another 1C and then you're going to prohibit Higgins from growing into that role.
Yeah, you can't.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, you can't, Bruins fans, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And you got to give Sweeney some credit here. I think a B is a very fair grade for him. He got you JJ Peterka. That's good. You needed that. You needed another scorer. He got you Will Borg, and it may not be like, Simone Nemec or Zach Whitecloud. Just kidding. Just kidding, Steve. But, or like these big name or guys like Jordan Spence, but like, he at least got you something that definitely improved your right side outside of, Andrew Peeke and Henry Jokiharju. A bag of pucks might have been a better like, improvement than Andrew Peeke. So I think it's a fair grade.
I don't know. Personally, I'd say a high C at most. I was at D before this, but you know what? We went over it. I'll go with a C. I just need to see a little bit more, and that's what the C is for, to see a little bit more.
You
If
suck.
I don't, whatever. I can, and I will, but I just need to see a little bit more, man. I do. I and Steve just kind of hammered my point home with, dude, the direction. Just tell us that you want to be 3 years out from the Stanley Cup. I'd be so much happier. Just give me the honest answers. Stop bullshitting me.
Yep. That's really what it's about. It's really about being honest with the fans and not feeding us bullshit so we can keep buying tickets. And because guess what? Bruins fans are suckers. We're still going to buy the fucking tickets. We're still going to sell out the Garden for beer and hot dogs. Like, we're still going to be there. Like, we are. That's one thing about Bruins fans is like we still go to the games even if they suck. That's just what it is.
All right, so Cody's a high C. He's a freaking juice box. Steve, what are you
I have him at C+.
Oh my god, you two are you guys are insufferable.
Not really.
No, but Steve's right though. No, Steve's right though. No matter what, we're gonna spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars to go see any Bruins game. Doesn't matter who the fuck they're playing. Let it be the 100th anniversary game, the centennial game, or let it be fucking Utah Mammoth. I'm still gonna spend the money and go see it. But just tell me, like, hey, we're not winning the cup this year. Probably not for the next 5. Great. Guess
You
what?
want a letter?
I'm still the same fan.
I'll send you a freaking letter. He's not gonna ever come out and tell you that. Like, not when he has David Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy, and Jeremy Swayman. They're not gonna like to hear.
Because you guys
Yeah,
keep
3 more years.
their fucking hopes up.
Yeah, because
No matter what, they're under
the
contract with them for that long anyway. So who the fuck cares? Just tell me. Last contract, last day of my contract.
I would
Stanley
much
Cup.
rather David
Cool.
Pastrnak have false hopes than him just being like, "Oh, you're saying 3 years? Fuck you! I want to trade." Like,
Stop
what do you
jerking
mean?
us and jerking him around. Just stop jerking him around. That's what you're doing at this point. You're giving him these guys that aren't it.
Yep, and he knows it. And he knows it.
He knows it too.
That's why he said that he's getting older and he needs help. But this isn't the fucking help he needs. That's the problem.
Oh, he got him some help. I mean, hopefully James Higgins or someone takes an additional step this year. It could be Minton or somebody takes an additional step that kind of shows Boston or David Pastrnak, Marco Sturm, Don Sweeney, the fucking Tooth Fairy, who gives a shit, that they can be like a 1C. Because realistically, you do have some scoring outside. Again, I really think the right wing 3 needs to be figured out, and I'm willing to take a flyer on Patrick Laine. That's just a side tangent there, but it's just you have some scoring. Like if you have Peterka, Higgins, Pastrnak, you got 2 snipers or sniper-esque players on there, and a guy that can possibly do it. Hopefully, James Higgins can grow into it, or maybe put Fraser Minton up there where he succeeded. You can keep Zacha there if you really wanted to, because I think he's been effective. And then again, I think a good second line is, a playmaker with Lindholm, who's a responsible, whether you like it or not, he is a responsible 2-way center. And then Geeky, who's a goal scorer. The only
is he
bad thing about that line is Elias Lindholm, who's slow as fuck.
That's why you need speed on the other side of that, because Geeky is also slow as fuck. The thing.
Yeah, Geeky could stand to improve his skating speed a bit.
Geeky can shoot and score when he's with David Pastrnak, but this year he really needs to prove that he can score without David Pastrnak. That's the thing.
I agree.
And the only way you're going to get that done is by having some speed on that line to get into the offensive zone and set up players like the Lindholm, who take forever to get into the zone, and let him play make to the guy who can actually score. Right, but that's the thing. It's just, to me, the best move he made was Korpisalo leaving. I'm so glad that we dumped that godforsaken cap space. We needed to open that up so we can bring in someone. It's just is what it is, right? I'm still pissed that he didn't move Lohrei. I'm still pissed because that would have cleared up even more cap space to get a guy.
The shopping
Connor Clifton.
No. They're shopping Lorai and Yokiharu. That's already been well understood that they are shopping both of those names. The downside is you do for the first 6 games you need someone to play an additional on the right side because you lost McAvoy. I'm fine with keeping Henry Yokiharu up until that point, but again, if you can move Lorai, and I hate to say it, Husnudinov, and for a player that can make you that much better on the defensive end at the LD1 or the LD2 spot, you do it. I don't think you stop it. But then again, you're going to have the fans that say, well, that ruins Frederick Brunet's potential. But then you can trade Zaka the year after. Like the Bruins in a precarious situation with their defensive core as well, where you have some young guys that are looking to crack the roster in addition. So, and again, people love Hootsie. I love Hootsie. That was just a name drop. That's nothing too serious or to look too far into.
Kind of hurt my soul on that one a little bit. I actually was taken back by it.
Yeah,
it's not a move I would be like completely open to. It's just again a name that would garner interest from other teams.
And I get that. I absolutely get that. There are other names. Some, not a lot. There are some, just not a lot.
There's one that's coming to his mind that's very particular. And I wonder who it is. Does it start with a P?
And does the last name start with a Z?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think you could shop him a little bit more. And again, Hoostie's got age. That's the only reason why I say it. Hoostie's still got more time.
Yeah.
So for what we saw from him to what he could be with the right players, man, can that be fun to watch.
I think he's at best a third liner, a really high performing third liner. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I think his ceiling is 2. I think his ceiling's 2.
If you need him to play 2 or 1,
second line, again, he can jump into the first line as needed. But like his ceiling's a 2, and easily.
Look, I get it. I get the case for Husnudinov. Again, this was not to be like trade him. He's a piece of crap. This is just a name that would garner interest. So like, if you guys are saying Don Sweeney got like a C, you guys are giving him a C plus, and I'm giving him a B. Like that is a difference of where we are in opinions on that. You know, and if you think you still need an RD2, I pivoted to LD. Like, you know, it's just it just goes to show that there are several things necessarily, I guess, wrong with the roster, and how you perceive that is up to your own interpretation of the roster.
Yeah.
Everyone can agree that the 1C is still up for grabs because Higgins has yet to prove that. Letrino is clearly, still at BC, so he has yet to prove anything with that. Zaka is a high 2C, I would say. Lindholm is a golfer at this point, unless he can just somehow miraculously turn it around and get an injection or something. And, people, I think, have come around to the Will Borgen thing, and they're saying the right side looks decent. A lot more shutdown guys on the right side. But you also need to get some speed on the defense, too. And Hampus Lindholm is not going to be that. So, again, I think the LD1 is now a position that you need to consider.
And to be fair, I'm still for my grade, I'm still concerned what we're going to do for the power play. That's right. Like, we have to think about these things, right? If you're going to have slow as fuck Lindholm out there just to win the face-off, he better win the face-off and do everything he can to get to the bench and get someone who can score out there.
That's what they did with Beecher in overtime.
And I mean, you're not wrong, but do you really want to see Charlie McAvoy continue to quarterback this god-awful power play? That's the thing, too. It's just there's too many questions, and that's why I don't think he's done enough. And there's still time to do more. There's still plenty of time to do more. He can do more. And as it stands right now, it's a C plus for me because there still needs to be work done because we have so many gaping holes, right? Like you brought this up earlier with Zadorov. One of the best penalty killers. Too bad he's the guy serving the penalty majority of the time. So who else are you going to go in there? Corrali, Borgen. Like, what are we going to do? We need to bolster our penalty kill because, well, the first thing you need to do is not take as many penalties as you did last season because you're the most.
Actually, I gotta say, Steve, I think the penalty kill is fine. I think you have enough penalty killers. Murat Husnedinov's a good one.
Yeah.
Elias Lindholm is a decent one. He's just slow, but he'll eat pucks, or he has a good defensive stick. I think Borgen's a decent one. I think now you have Connor Clifton. That's a decent one. Hampus, Lindholm, McAvoy, they're decent penalty killers. I'm trying to think of who else on the forward group. I think Tanner Jeannot is okay.
Anybody with a pulse and a big body that can sit in front of the net for a penalty kill,
Yeah,
you're good.
I think
That's all I
Fraser
care about.
Minton's a good penalty killer too. I think the PK isn't the issue, but I
It's
agree with you on the
power
power play. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. But like, I agree. Like, yeah, who's going to quarterback that? Lowry? No thanks. He'll cough the puck up on the blue line. I'll just bash my head against a wall. No thank you. So again, I think it comes back to you need a puck mover on the left-handed side that can do it. Whose name is not Charlie McAvoy, even though he's on the right. But you get my point.
You can just circumnavigate this and get a puck handling RD2 that can fill that role in and be a solidified RD2. That, I mean, why are we taking the long way around this? If we still need an RD2, in my opinion, why not get a puck moving RD2 to help bolster the power play?
I think I'd rather have Yoki Haru there. I think put him in as RD3 and have him be, because he can move the puck well. But is he the guy you want on your power play unit? I would prefer him on power play 2. I think your question is valid on power play 1. Well, who's that guy? Maybe Frederick Brunet does come up and he impresses very well, and he just goes, "Hey, I can be an LD2 here, and I've grown into that. I can move the puck well, and here we go." You know what I mean? Maybe he's developed well enough.
I'd like to see that.
I agree. There's still questions, but to say for I respect you guys' C+. Again, for me, it's just the B because he did everything that he said he was going to do, and I think he's going to do more. You have $5 million in cap. You can still move Acimont. You get your 27 first, the 28 Boston first, the 28 Toronto first, and the 29 Boston first. You still have things that you can move to go get. You have Lowry, you have Yoki Haru. You have players you can get rid of. It's just a question of if you really want to improve that much, you're gonna pay.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind paying for it if it's worth it. I
mean, to add to this too, I actually put a Twitter poll out there for the fans to engage in. It received quite a bit of votes. I think it was north of 400. I can't remember. And it was basically asking how Bruins fans felt about Don Sweeney's offseason, just thus far, up to today. And the scale was good, neutral, bad, and just happened to be here. You know what I mean? That was just a goofy one that actually caught some votes, which was hilarious.
I was there for a couple years.
But just happy to be here. I'm looping it. I'm gonna add into the neutral because I think you just don't have an opinion on it. So 26% felt that Don Sweeney did a good job. 59% said that they felt neutral, and then 15% felt that it was bad.
I'm kind of sitting in the neutral category right now.
Yeah, I think to be fair, right? I don't think anyone's giving him an A in this.
I don't think he's deserved an A.
I don't think he's deserved it. And so if you want to take that criteria, and that's fine, right? If you want to say anything in the B's is good, anything in the C's is neutral, and a D and below, that's bad, right? I think that's fair, and I think Cody and I are both sitting at neutral. I mean, Cody, agree with me or disagree with me? I would say it's a start. There's still more to be done, but it's a good start, I would say.
Totally agree. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good start, but it's just a start. Like I said, I need more.
That's just more credit than I think you guys have ever given Don Sweeney in the entirety of this show. So, I mean, I'm going to say kudos to both of you because I think
we're not sitting here hate fucking them.
Give Steve an opportunity, and he still would hate fuck this guy.
I'm sitting right there with him. I still want his head. I don't care.
I wish Jack was here.
But at the same time,
I wish Jack was here. I need someone on my side, man. I need someone on my side.
I was saying this to myself earlier today too, thinking about it. I was like, we're actually pulling Jack to the dark side. We really are. He's slowly but surely every week, every time we get together,
I
it's
have to pull
slowly
him
just
back.
like, come on, Jackie Poo,
It-
let's
it is
go.
ever closer. He's
Ever
starting.
closer.
He's
He's starting, and he's really on the fence right now. He's 50-50 at this point.
You guys are Palpatine. He's Anakin Skywalker.
Well,
Like he's
Come
about
to
to
the
become the
dark
big
side,
bad.
Anakin.
you can't blame us for the stuff that Don Sweeney does, and we just put our thoughts out there. I mean, it's
We're just calling it like we sees it.
exactly that's exactly what it is. I call it like I see it, and that's and it can be good, it can be bad, and it just is what it is. But I think Jack is starting to see it. That's like, wow, that's an interesting take. You know,
Well,
you got to call it like you see it, and I don't know, man. I think Cam is still, he's still on that other side, and that's fine because he's all bright eyed and bushy tailed, and he's always defending Sweeney because he can't stand
okay.
listening to us hate fuck him all the time, and that's fine. But like, I think he has the blinders on a little bit because a couple weeks ago he was saying some crazy things that we had to correct him on.
little bit.
Okay. I'm not Don Sweeney's biggest defender, but I'm gonna give him some credit where credit's due. I hated the Corpusalo trade. I wasn't a big fan. Well, actually, I was. I liked the Zadorov signing. I liked the Elias Lindholm signing for what potential it could have been, and then it turned out like PP Kakapupu do. So yes, I'm willing to criticize Sweeney for it. I was I was hot and cold with Low Rye, and now I'm just like, this guy sucked. Like, you know what I mean? I was okay with the I've criticized Sweeney on Matthew Patra, his handling of him. I've criticized Sweeney on his handling of Lysell. Sweeney's not perfect.
Not at all.
But I am going to give him credit. He did do what he said he was going to do. And I think he needs to do more. Ergo, the right wing 3 position. I'm still not going to let that one go. We have some fan thoughts, and I think you guys this is from Hockey B, and you'll like this because it coincides to what we were talking about. And Hockey B said, one topic I feel there is a fair amount of ambiguity in terms of the Bruins' long-term plan with the blue line. Others, Hagen's deployment, line combos, potential center controversies. Another I've been thinking is the Geeky Pasternak issue if it bumps Peterka off line 1, which would be a mistake in his opinion. And then he goes on to say, maybe too early for some of that stuff in the middle, but I have some question marks about their long-term plans with the D-core and how they intend to get the best value of Peterka and evaluate Pasta's game while also balancing Geeky's reliance on Pasta to produce consistently.
I think that's fair. I think that those are fair concerns.
Yep. Very much. That's actually honestly the concerns that I had going into it as well. So
I think it's a great take.
Right there with this guy. Yeah, no, huge kudos to this guy.
I think it's the same concern that you could say echoes in every Bruins fan's mind. Can Geeky produce without Pasternak? Where does Peterka fit in this whole ordeal? With the plethora of centers, how do we handle that? And the question marks on the blue line, long term, what's that going to look like? It's very fair because we don't know. Borgen has not played a game in a Bruins sweater. Clifton has, but a long time ago, and Clifton's gotten better. Peterka hasn't played a game in a Bruins sweater. You know, these things are, it's all very valid.
And to be fair, how are all these guys going to play in the system that the Bruins have now deployed under Sturm? Because it's changed up a bit.
I think what happened last year was a learning year because I think you saw the Bruins get a little bit better towards the middle of the season once they started adjusting to Sturm's system. But I think once you get Peterka and all the other new additions into the training camp, and it was also Sturm's first year as an NHL head coach. He was a player, but sometimes that doesn't translate in the first year. So as much as it was a learning curve for the Boston Bruins, it was also a learning curve for Marco Sturm. So I'm excited to kind of see where he takes that in the following year, knowing that he definitely made mistakes. I think he's alluded to that. And I think the players know that they didn't play to the best of their ability in his system. So I think it was a learning experience for everyone, but ultimately one, I think that everyone's going to come back this year stronger.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think it was definitely a learning curve for Sturm, and I think it was definitely a learning curve for the guys under the new head coach. And once they kind of melded that together, we were a little bit smoother sailing. Again, these runs of win 7 games, lose 7 games, win 7 games, lose 13 games, like,
yeah,
it's a headache and a half. It's just a headache and a half. Like, figure it out.
It's frustrating.
It is very frustrating as a Bruins fan. Like, we're doing so good. We got a chance. We fucking suck. This season's over. I'm over this.
It's that hot and cold streakiness that we need to avoid. We need a little bit more consistency, even if that's like win 3 games, lose 2. You know, win 3 games, lose 2. That's a little bit more consistency there, and
It's more manageable.
It's definitely more manageable.
This one was funny to me because I think this was a Steve burner account by some guy named Jay. That's really it. He said Zaka Corrales, Middlestat, Elias Lindholm. These guys should be moved. One of Mason or Yoki should also. How come Potsy hasn't been extended yet? I feel like that was basically the embodiment of Steve via Twitter, because I think that's exactly the same shit Steve just has been spewing. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with keeping Middlestat for the third line. Sure, trade Zaka, trade Corrali, but you got to get something great back in return from, and you got to believe that Hagens or Letrano is ready to take upon that role, or at least assume a 2C role at that point in time.
Well, I just want to clear there. It wasn't me what a burner account.
We just got to make that clear.
The reason why I'm so frustrated with it is because I know we can't move those guys, and that's eating me alive every day. We're living rent free in my mind that I'm going to be probably 37 years old before we can get rid of these guys. So that's just
damn, you're old.
Doom and gloom, right? That's bad. And that's not a future that I want to look forward to, because if these guys are producing now and as they get older, it's just going to get worse, and I'm going to get even more frustrated. And instead of the hate fuck for Sweden, it's going to be the hate fuck for the Lindholms. Like, it's going to be bad. I already can see the future. It's not good. And you know what? Fair point. Why hasn't Potter been extended? Why haven't we done anything with him? Right? It's either trade him or sign him. In my objective here is to sign him to a 2-year deal, $950K, $1 million. That's okay. I'm okay with those.
I bet you that's not what he wants. I bet you that's the holdup. I bet you it's term.
I bet you it's term, but it's also, I think he's just done with Don Sweeney. I genuinely think that he's just done with the Boston Bruins organization, because has he got a fair shake? I don't think so.
I think the Bruins might actually want to sign him for 1 year, but I think Potter wants more. Because I think if it was 2 years, Potter would like that. Like, be like, okay, fine. You're going to give me 2 years to prove it. Something tells me that Boston wants it at 1 year at a very cheap deal. And that's not just flying. And I think he wants $1 million or 1.2. He wants, I think, or the holdup might be a one-way contract too. I think he's trying to force his way onto the roster, which I don't fault him for. I don't
fault him there either.
No.
Because again, how is he going to prove it to these guys if he doesn't get any playing time up in the big club?
I bet you that's why they're looking to move on from Corrali. Because you're not going to bury Corrali. You know what I mean? I think Corrali is a good fourth line guy. You're not going to bury him in Providence. You already got Asimont, you got Steves that you're stuck with. So Potter's probably looking at that and be like, you got to find a way to get rid of these guys, because I'm not playing down in Providence for another year when every time I've been called up, I've done something of substance.
And to be fair, along with that line, he's played significantly better than any of the games that Steve's has played. And that guy just rotted as a healthy scratch for most of the year. So it's one of those things where you're paying this guy what 2 point something million for what 2 or 3 years, whatever it is.
No, 1.67.
1.67 to just be a healthy scratch for 80% of the year.
Why not? They're paying Asimont to basically do the same thing as well.
Exactly. So why? And every time he comes up, he does do things. And I know that's where Cody and I differ. He doesn't think that Poitras does really much, but he's noticeable out there, in my opinion, to at least warrant a longer stint in the show to show us something.
You're paying Tanner Jeannot $3.4 million to be a fucking pylon. You're paying
pylon that punches people.
Sure.
He does hurt people.
Hell yeah.
He does hurt people.
Get me in that game. Sure. I'm just saying he's still a pylon
100%.
out there. He's allergic to the
100%.
puck. And then you're paying Lowry $3.1 million to cause turnovers into into the back of Jeremy
to give up
Swayman's
goals.
net. So sure. So what does that get Poitras? $5 million? You know what I mean? Just to do some good. I don't know.
Give him $5 million for 2 years, whatever. Fuck it.
And I bet you also there's some part of Sweeney that says well, we have time with Poitras. They're probably trying to get Zacha extended. That's what I would imagine, because Poitras is not eligible to be offer sheeted. Poitras is also not eligible for arbitration. So Sweeney's probably taking a look at that. I was like, we got time. No need to rush him. And I'm sure they're communicating with him, but for an answer, I can't tell you why Poitras hasn't been extended yet, but I could give you a whole bunch of theories. All of them are probably wrong. It's probably because Poitras golfing or something. I have no idea. Or Sweeney's got a thumb up his ass. I don't know. That's probably my favorite one.
Mine too.
That among other things up his ass, but
this one was from what I believe to be both of your burner accounts. Sweeney and Neely should be fired, and this comes from Gordon Zombay. Great Twitter name. As I said, Sweeney and Neely should be fired. Jacobs should sell the team, and all of the high value players should be traded for picks. Blue chip prospects so far. Which one of you assholes wrote that? No one wants to admit it. Oh, Cody, dickhead.
Not it.
AKA Gordon Zombay. Not really much to say to that, except for Jacobs are not going to sell the team. Sweeney and Neely aren't going to be fired, but if one goes, they both go. That much I can tell you.
Yep. Which needs to happen, but again, it's not going to happen if it hasn't already happened.
Yes.
That's the unfortunate thing.
Yes.
To me, it feels like, I'm not even just going to talk about the Bruins. I'm going to talk about a lot of the Boston organizations, Red Sox included. The ownership doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Flat out. Doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know if they want to win. They don't know if they want to lose. They're just here for the show.
Actually, I think the Jacobs family knows exactly what they're doing. Yeah, because
tell me.
This has been the case since they took over as owners. They know that the Boston Bruins organization is a cash cow because there's people like us who show up day in day out when they win or when they lose, when they're very good and when they suck horrendously. Because we're always going to show up. That's what it is. And you know what? The Jacobs family never do enough to make us win a Stanley Cup, but sure enough, they do enough to make us go 1-2 rounds in the playoffs so that they get at least two to four extra paychecks personally for themselves.
Yeah, that's all profit, by the way. Did you know that? That's playoffs to them is that's all profit.
It's all profit. It's 100% profit.
And the prices go up more. That's the worst part.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And all the concessions, all the beer for playoff games, it's people drink more for those things. You're making the money off of the concessions, and they know that. So when people say that the Jacobs family don't know what they're doing, no, they know exactly what they're doing, and they know that this is a cash cow, and they're never going to give it up. So they're never going to sell.
They know they can get away with it.
Exactly. They know exactly what they can and can't get away with. And that's fine. Whatever. I do think that Sweeney and Neely should be fired because they just there's this theory that the coaches have a shelf life in the NHL, right? Once you
presidents.
Well, hold on, I'm getting there. If a coach can lose the locker room, a president and a GM can lose their way just as easily on the organizational needs and where the organization's direction is. And I think they've both lost their way, and they're trying to relive the glory days of the big bad Bruins, and it's not working in today's game.
Yep, I was about to say. Yeah, it's not a style of hockey you can play anymore. It's just not.
It's needed in the playoffs, but you first got to get to the playoffs because the teams that are big and brutal up front do usually win the Stanley Cup.
Florida Panthers, man. They just got Brady. They got Radko Gudas. They're a team of fucking bullies.
Yep.
So
the Goon Squad.
That is
I'm so
literally
excited
a
for this
team
year
of
of hockey
goons.
just to watch that.
Yep.
And I'll say it, like, yeah, even when Marchand was here, he was a rat. He's a rat down in Florida too. Sam Bennett, rat. Matty Tkachuk, rat. Brady Tkachuk, probably a mouse compared to his brother, but like
he's a goon. He's a full on goon.
He's a goon, but he's not going to go swinging.
Radko Gudas, rat.
Goon.
Yeah. Like
goon.
they had
Vilmanis.
The guy that who was I can't remember who Vilmanis hit, but then Paul Maurice benched him so that way Vilmanis wouldn't answer for what he did, and it was a Bruins game. I can't remember who Vilmanis hit, but I was just like, you got to put him on the ice to answer for that atrocious hit. Yep. Like, why? Who cares? Like, that's hockey. And Paul Maurice doing that, rat. Sorry, but I agree with you. You do need that grit in the playoffs. That's how you win.
Yep, it is. You need to make the playoffs. You need that grit, but also you need to be good enough where you're not really sitting at a wild card 2 spot all year. You need to get in that top 3 category so you can at least have a better standing on your 2 legs.
Fair enough. I got one more thing from Twitter, from the comments from the fans, and this was actually from our guy Kurt, who Cody and I had the pleasure of speaking with. We might have some good news regarding that later on as we approach. Kurt says, "Buckle up, gents. It's time to praise the Sweeneyus. He's learned from past transgressions. He will never admit it because he's arrogant, but his actions speak volumes. He made way for DiPietro, and he didn't throw bags at middling free agents. It might not be sexy, but it's progress." It's not wrong.
It's
definitely not wrong.
And
it's not wrong.
To be fair, he's not a Bruins fan, so he's on the outside looking in.
Kurt is indeed a Bruins fan.
He is. I thought you said he wasn't.
He is both a Carolina Hurricanes fan, I believe, and a Bruins fan.
Not in my
Bruins
world.
Bruins is where his passion is. But I think he has a point. I absolutely think he has a point in saying it may not be sexy, but it's progress. I think that's great. Learn from past transgressions remains to be seen. That will remain to be seen. I'm not sure where the actions speak louder than words right now. For him, I'm a little lost on that one, so I'd probably ask Kurt to elaborate. I agree that he made way for DiPietro. We've been screaming for that.
Yep.
Praising Sweeney. I don't know if I'm going to praise him, but I'm going to give him a pat on the shoulder or pat on the back.
Yeah,
we've already talked.
Golf clap is all you get from me. Golf clap.
He doesn't even get that from me. It's
that's all I can give him. It's the softest clap.
I swear, Sweeney could bring in Draisaitl, Kaprizov, all at 50% retention somehow, and Steve would just be like, "Yeah, but he didn't get McDavid."
Hey, math guy, what's 50% of 17 million? Still a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, eight and a half.
We got
8.5 million.
What we got.
I'm just saying, like, if money wasn't really an option, like, and if he found a way to get it to somehow work, Steve would be like, "Fucking could have had McDavid for that price," and I would be like, "Really? You just got Draisaitl and Kaprizov?
You probably could have."
Like, I was like, "What the fuck, dude? Why can't you just?"
There's your 1C right there.
Yeah, there's your 1C.
I think Draisaitl is a 1C hiding as a 2C, so like it's fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's just my thing. Like Steve could probably get Gretzky, and he'd be like, oh, "God, guys, like what the fuck? Could have had Lemieux."
Get
Like, you know what I mean? There's just Steve will find something, some way to like just look at it and be like,
because I have zero confidence in Sweeney to do anything that's correct. I have zero confidence. He's shown me time in and time out that he just can't do his goddamn job. Like he does parts of his job, and then he wants all the praise. Again, he just sits there because he thinks he's the smartest man in the room. He thinks he's pulling fast ones. Yeah, I'm going to sign Tanner Jeannot to a no movement clause for 3-point-something million a year. Ooh, I'm the smartest man in the room. This is going to be so good for us. And like he thinks he's pulling a fast one in the league, and the league is just like, you're an idiot. Nobody, your own fans don't even like that.
If you also feel the same as Steve, you can reach him at 781 Sweeney Fuck Club. Hate Fuck Club, sorry. Like what?
Hey, fuck club, get it right.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I guess, Steve. I guess. You are what did we say in the last episode? You are cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic is the correct term. I am cautiously optimistic for this season because we have made a start, and I want to see where this start takes us. I think we have improved a little bit. Yes, I do think we've improved a little bit, but not to the amount that we need to compete with Florida Panthers, because that's just the goon squad. And again, I already booked this. All right, I'm booking this right now. They're winning the Stanley Cup. I'm taking them at plus odds right now. Sorry, like that's who's winning. You got to compete with that.
That'll definitely be a topic that we'll discuss in another time, especially after we hit, I don't know, training camp, because then we can start seeing like how these teams look, and then you're going to look at, preseason. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, the full season schedule for the Boston Bruins is going to be released on July 16th, which is a few days from now, 4 days from now at the time of this recording. So, I mean, that's going to be exciting. We'll at least know how we're going to shape out. We can kind of start mapping out, like, definitive wins, definitive losses, like, because there's such thing as scheduled losses, right? Like when you have like back-to-backs or 4 games in 5 days or something like that, 4 games in 7 days, that's a lot. So we can start gauging on that. Guys, and by the way, thank you to the fans, for submitting some of the mailbag stuff. We picked our favorites that we saw. Guys, do you have any final thoughts before we close out the episode? Don't everyone just jump out at once. Holy smokes.
No, to be honest, I'm honestly, like you said, it's a start. I'm happy. I want to see kind of where we go from here. I'm not gonna say I'm overly joyed. I just can't wait to see what the schedule looks like. Again, that'll dictate a lot, but 82 games, man. 82 games doesn't change.
84 this year, right?
Oh, is it 82 more games this year? I think it is 84 this year.
Games this year. Yeah, that's going to be.
I
don't know if it's going to be much of a slugfest. You know what I mean? You're just effectively taking away 2 preseason games, which the NHLers would have played in anyway. They always play in the final 2 games, so your roster's determined by then.
Yep. So, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens, honestly, with Florida. I'm booking that ticket with you, Steve. I'm Florida all the way. They're gonna do it. They're gonna bully their way right through.
Yep.
And nobody's gonna stop them. The Bruins, not even a speed bump in the road, maybe a pebble.
You're right. I'm right there with you. That's just a pebble in the way.
Wait, Steve, for your final thought, I'm going to read you mine. I'm going to channel my inner Steve here for a moment. I'm going to think on really strongly. I'm going to be clairvoyant here for a moment. And your final thought is going to be fuck Sweeney, fuck Neely.
No.
Ooh, damn.
You're dead wrong.
Well, yeah. You were definitely thinking it, though.
No, I mean, I was all day. It's always rent free in my head that these guys suck. But no, my final thought is I'm excited to see the schedule. I always love looking forward to the day where they release the schedule, mainly because it's games I'm trying to see which ones I can go to, things like that. I'm excited to see the schedule and how rough it's going to be, especially in March when you're going to need some wins. And I'm curious to see Last year we had that condensed schedule, front loaded, back loaded, and all that crazy stuff. I want to see what that's going to look like through February a little bit. And then, just kind of waiting around to see how the boys do. I want to see how Matty P looks in preseason and in training camp and all that good stuff. I'm looking forward to watching training camp stuff.
Awesome. I actually have a few final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to probably have some really cool news to announce very shortly. HiBruiNation's going to meet and discuss on how we want to present that to all of you guys, but please stay tuned for that. Also, we are going now really into our summer schedule. So we are going to go on an as needed basis, basically up until training camp or after the first week of training camp. So we can enjoy this extremely, extremely hot summer and hopefully go to the beach. So those are the two announcements that I have. We potentially might have some new crew members coming on varying roles, and we can't wait to express to you all what we are going to have coming, especially with this upcoming season. But outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for tonight's episode. Thank you for tuning in to us as always. Don't forget to check out all of us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. You can also find our blogs on our website at don'tpuckwithmedia.com. Feel free to connect with us through those platforms, and please consider giving us a like or even subscribe to us for more Boston Bruins content. But until next time, go Bruins, and we missed you, Jack.